Everyone commits the same error when they imagine ransomware as a career. They only ever see the payout, never the ledger. Colonial Pipeline paid $4.4 million, and that headline is burned into public memory. What is not burned in is the 20 to 40% platform fee, the 30% laundering tax, and the 40 to 60% chance the whole operation nets zero. I spent 3 weeks reconstructing the real economics from federal filings, and the picture looks nothing like the myth. Today we tear apart the spreadsheet nobody in this business wants published. If you have ever fallen for a too-good-to-be-true criminal fantasy, tell me which one in the comments. This video is for educational, entertainment, and historical purposes only. All data comes from published court records and federal agency press releases. Nothing here is financial advice, legal advice, or an encouragement to commit any crime. If you learn how to commit a crime from this video, you have deeply misunderstood the assignment. So you want to be a ransomware hacker. You have seen the headlines about faceless crews locking hospital networks. They walk away with millions in cryptocurrency, and nobody knows their name. You are thinking this is the perfect crime for the internet age. All upside and absolutely no downside. Well, I spent 3 weeks building a financial model of this career. I used federal indictments, blockchain analysis reports, and sentencing records from the Department of Justice. The median ransomware affiliate earns less per hour than a night shift manager at Waffle House. And the Waffle House manager is not facing 20 years in federal prison. But let us do the math anyway. First, let us look at the headline revenue numbers that create the illusion. Global ransomware revenue peaked near $1.1 billion in 2023. That figure comes from Chainalysis, which tracks cryptocurrency flows across every major blockchain. The median ransom payment that year was roughly $260,000 per incident. Some payments were enormous. Colonial Pipeline paid $4.4 million. Others were tiny. But that billion-dollar total is what gets people excited. Divide $1.1 billion among an estimated 300 to 500 serious affiliates worldwide. You get 2 to 3 million per person per year. That is the fantasy number. That is the number on the recruitment poster. And it is a complete lie. Because you do not get to keep any of that. Now let us talk about what it actually costs to get into this business. Most ransomware attackers are not genius programmers building custom code in a basement. They are affiliates renting access to ransomware-as-a-service platforms. Think of it like a criminal franchise model, except the franchise owner hates you. You need to buy network access from an initial access broker. That costs $500 to $10,000 per target. You need bulletproof hosting for your infrastructure at $200 to $1,000 monthly. VPN tools and anonymity subscriptions run another $50 to $300 per month. Cryptocurrency wallet setup and test transactions through tumblers cost a few hundred more. Total startup cost for a single campaign runs $2,000 to $20,000. And here is the fun part. 40 to 60% of ransomware deployments result in zero payment. The target had backups. The target called the FBI instead of paying. The target simply refused. So there is a coin flip chance you just lit your startup capital on fire. No venture capitalist is going to refund that for you. But let us say you beat those odds and the victim actually pays. Congratulations. Now everybody else wants their cut. Let us walk through the middleman taxes. The ransomware platform operator takes 20 to 40% of every payment. Lockbit reportedly took 20%, which was considered a bargain in this industry. Other platforms demanded up to 40%. Then you need to launder the cryptocurrency. Mixers and over-the-counter brokers charge 15 to 30% for that service. If you used an initial access broker, they might want an additional 5 to 10% bonus. Some affiliates hire negotiation specialists to handle victim communications. That is another 5 to 10%. Add it all up, and the affiliate retains roughly 30 to 50% of the gross payment. On a median payment of $260,000, your net is $78,000 to $130,000. Call it roughly $90,000 for a successful attack. Maybe you pull off 2 to 5 successful payments per year if you are talented and lucky. That puts your estimated gross annual income around $150,000 to $650,000. The median lands near $250,000 per year before risk adjustment. Not bad money, honestly. Until you remember one very important detail about cryptocurrency. Every single transaction is recorded permanently on a public blockchain, and there is an entire federal task force whose only job is reading that blockchain. Let us talk about the risk multiplier. This is where the career falls apart completely. Between 2020 and 2024, law enforcement dismantled or disrupted nearly every major ransomware network. The FBI infiltrated the Hive network covertly for 7 straight months. Agents obtained decryption keys and saved victims $130 million in payments. They were inside the house the entire time and nobody noticed. Our evil saw multiple arrests across Romania and Russia in 2022. The dark side group behind the Colonial Pipeline attack dissolved under pressure almost immediately. Conti imploded after internal leaks exposed member identities following a political dispute. Lockbit was gutted by Operation Kronos in 2024. Infrastructure seized. Affiliates identified. Netwalker affiliate Sébastien Vachon Desjardins was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. So what is the actual probability of getting caught? Estimating annual indictment risk for an active affiliate is difficult, but not impossible. Based on the ratio of known indictments to estimated active affiliates over 5 years, the figure falls between 15 and 30% per year. That sounds survivable for 1 year, but compounded over a 3-year career. The cumulative probability of indictment or operational disruption reaches 40 to 65%. You are not flipping a coin once, you are flipping it every single year. And remember, the FBI recovered $2.3 million of that Colonial Pipeline payment within 30 days. Mixers delay blockchain tracing. They do not prevent it. Your money is never actually yours. Now let us calculate what you actually earned per hour, adjusted for the time you will spend in a cell. This is the number that matters. Assume a median 3-year affiliate career earning $250,000 per year after middleman costs. Gross career earnings total approximately $750,000. You worked an estimated 30 to 50 hours per week on reconnaissance, deployment, negotiation, and laundering logistics. Over 3 years, that is roughly 5,000 to 8,000 hours of labor. The naive hourly rate before risk adjustment looks decent, $94 to $150 an hour. Sounds great. Then reality arrives. Apply a 50% probability of a 15-year federal sentence. Factor in 15 years of lost legitimate earning potential at $40,000 per year. That is $600,000 in income you will never earn. Run the expected value calculation. Take 50% of $750,000 in criminal earnings. Subtract 50% times $600,000 in lost legitimate income. The expected net gain of this entire career is approximately $75,000. Now account for total life hours consumed. Include the probability-weighted prison hours, roughly 130,000 hours behind bars. Your risk-adjusted hourly rate collapses to approximately $1.03. Even generous models assuming lower arrest probability and shorter sentences yield $8 to $14 per hour. The federal conviction rate in the United States exceeds 99% once charges are filed. Plea bargains might shave a few years, but rarely below 8 for major ransomware cases. Supervised release conditions after prison further limit your earning potential for years. Let me put that in perspective for you. A shift manager at In-N-Out Burger earns roughly $22 to $25 per hour. They receive health insurance, they receive a retirement plan, they receive paid vacation days. Their annual probability of federal indictment is effectively 0%. The burger job beats the ransomware career in every single measurable category. Every one, including dignity. But maybe you think you are special. Maybe you think you will be the one who gets out clean. So let us look at how these careers actually end, historically, statistically, every single time. There is no clean exit. Analysis of major ransomware group life cycles between 2017 and 2024 reveals 4 dominant endings. Door number 1 is federal indictment and arrest, 12 to 20 years in a concrete room. Door number 2 is internal betrayal. Your co-conspirators flip or leak your identity. Then you get arrested. Door number 3 is getting robbed by your own ransomware platform. Black Cat reportedly exit scammed its own affiliates in 2024, stealing the final payout pool. Conti leadership allegedly absconded with affiliate funds during the group implosion. So you did the crime, and your boss stole your paycheck. Then, eventually, you get arrested. Door number 4 is life on the run. Interpol red notice, sealed indictments waiting in every treaty country, no access to legitimate banking, constant relocation. Effective spending power of your remaining funds drops to 20 to 40% of face value. You cannot buy a house. You cannot fly commercially. You cannot relax. And eventually, statistically, you still get arrested. 4 doors, all of them lead to the same room. Over 80% of the top 20 ransomware groups from 2018 are now defunct or disrupted. Seized assets in major cases total hundreds of millions. Not one major ransomware affiliate has been documented successfully retiring with their earnings intact while remaining free. Not one. 0. The sample size of happy endings is literally nothing. So here is the final financial waterfall. You start with a billion-dollar industry headline. You subtract the 60% campaign failure rate. You subtract the 25% platform cut. You subtract the 20% laundering fee. You subtract the startup costs you burned on dead campaigns. You apply the 50% cumulative arrest probability. You multiply by 15 years of prison. And you arrive at a risk-adjusted hourly wage of somewhere between $1 and $14. Meanwhile, a junior IT help desk technician with a CompTIA certification earns $18 to $24 an hour. They get health insurance, they get a 401k, they get weekends, they get to sleep without wondering if a tactical team is currently driving to their house. They get to keep every single dollar they earn. So you still want to be a ransomware hacker, because mathematically, you would make more money and live longer learning to fix printers.